Growing up in the 90s, there was one thing that took over my life, and the entire planet honestly, and that was Pokémon. It wasn't just a game or a show, it was the childhood obsession. I watched every episode like it was homework, dragged my parents to every movie in the cinema, and probably cried over Ash turning to stone more than I'd like to admit.
This is the worst!
Pokémon, short for Pocket Monsters, was born in Japan in 1996, created by Satoshi Tajiri, a guy who spent his childhood catching bugs and dreamt of sharing that joy through a video game. He imagined a world where kids could link their Game Boys and trade creatures with friends. Yeah, before the internet we had actual cables. The original games, Pokémon Red and Green, hit Japan first, but when they arrived in the West in 1998 as Pokémon Red and Blue, the world caught Poke Fever, and no amount of antidotes could stop this coming.
That's what she said!
Michael, please.
Suddenly, it wasn't just a game. It was a TV show, a trading card game, action figures, backpacks, bedsheets, snack foods. If you could slap Pikachu's face on it, it existed. The anime was iconic. Ash Ketchum and his loyal Pikachu, forever 10 years old, setting off to become a Pokemon master, while Team Rocket failed to do anything useful. Every single episode. By the late 90s, Pokemon had become a global phenomenon. Stores sold out of cards in minutes. Schools banned them. Kids everywhere were fighting not over politics or playground games, but who had the holographic Charizard.
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
I managed to get my hands on an original copy of Pokémon Green a few years ago while I was in Japan. At the time, I had this grand plan. I'd play through it as a fun way to learn Japanese, but I never actually did. But today, that changes. Pokémon Green has a few interesting differences from the Western Red and Blue versions, like the original sprite work,
What is that?
and even a few event changes. In this video, I'll take you through an amateur but enthusiastic attempt to translate key moments, words and events from Pokémon Green, with a focus on grammar and vocabulary you might actually use in everyday Japanese. I'll also be comparing the original 151 Pokemon names, because yes, they are different, and pointing out some of the fun or weird things that get lost in translation.
You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
Since this is an original Game Boy game, everything is written in kana only, no kanji, making it surprisingly accessible for Japanese learners, especially if you're around the JLPT N4 or N3 level. So whether you're a nostalgic fan, a language nerd, or just want to see me struggle through 8-bit Japanese, welcome aboard. Right off the bat, we're greeted with this: Hajimemashite, Pocket Monster no Sekai e Yokoso, which means, nice to meet you, welcome to the world of Pokemon. Well, technically Pocket Monsters, because that's the original name in Japan. Pokemon was the cooler international rebrand. So we have two useful phrases right away. Hajimemashite, which is used when we meet someone new, and Yokoso, which is what you use to welcome people. The next line of text is Watashi no namae wa Okudo. Mina kara Pokemon wa kese to shitawarete oru yo. The translation to that is,
My name is Oak, but everyone calls me the Pokémon Professor.
the important bits here are Watashi no namae wa, which is my name is,
My name is Jeff.
and shitawarete oru, which is a fancy way of saying I'm respected.
Bow to me!
So I named myself Ski, and I named my rival Red. Why these names? Because I'm basically out of ideas. Another word to point your attention to is the line Soda. This is what Red hits us with, and it just translates to that's right, or yeah. You'll hear this in a lot of casual conversations. The more polite version that you may have heard is so desu. So as Ski selfishly leaves his mum and attempts to escape, Professor Oak comes to stop him. Aside from generally warning Ski about the Pokemon, I want to point out the word he uses here, which is abunai, which means watch out. It's one of my favourite words. It always reminds me about the monkey Abu in Aladdin grabbing the lamp, and Aladdin saying, watch out! Or, how I like to remember it, abunai Abu. We go to Oak's lab where we're greeted by his annoying grandson, Red, properly.
You are a little shit.
It's time to pick a starter. And of course I picked Charmander. This is where I'll know every Pokemon I come across and the Japanese names. First of all we have Charmander, which in Japanese is Hitogage. Hi means fire, and Togage is lizard. So yeah, literally fire lizard. Next we have Squirtle, but in Japanese it's Zenigame. Zeni means coin, and Kame means turtle. So it's coin turtle. And finally we have Bulbasaur, which in Japanese is Fushigi Dane. Fushigi meaning mysterious, and Tane meaning seed. It's basically mystery seed, which is kind of adorable. So Red picks his starter and hits us with this line. Ore wa kore ni suru. Translation of that is, I'm going with this one. I wanted to break down these words because it generally captures Red's kind of approach to speaking. So first of all we have ore, which is a very casual, borderline cocky way of saying I. You hear it a lot in anime. So, I am Red. Ore wa red desu.
You are a rude, terrible person.
And kore, which is this one. Kore is a very important word to just point to anything. You can literally put kore and any word. Now we've got out of the way, it's time to show Red who's boss.
What?
Oh, he beat me.
What the hell?
I got my ass kicked. And then he just swaggers off.
So long, gay boys.
After a gauntlet of angry birds and worms, I limped into Viridian City. First stop, the Pokémon Center. Unlike Red, the nurse actually has manners. She speaks in very formal Japanese and hits us with a word we're familiar with, yokoso, or welcome. Following this, she says, Pokémon no boru o azugemasu, which literally means, I'll take care of your Pokeballs.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Azukemasu means to deposit or to entrust, and it's very useful when talking about banks, luggage, or digital monsters. The next word the nurse finishes with is soredewa, which literally translates to well then, or alrighty, which is very common for polite transitions between topics.
Meanwhile,
as Ski continues up, we now run into a drunk old man. Yes, really. This is one of the regional differences between the Western releases of the games. In the Western release, the old man is just sleepy, but in Japan, he's really drunk. Ski needed to go into the Pokemon Mart. Inside the Pokemon, the shopkeeper greets us with the familiar yokoso. We're seeing this quite a few times now. Following this, he says, yukkuri mitte kudasai, which means, please look slowly or take your time browsing. So let's break these down. Yukkuri is a very key word in Japanese and means simply as slowly, and kudasai, which you hear this quite a lot in Japanese, meaning please. You can slap kudasai into tons of verbs to make polite requests. For example, biru kudasai.
1 beer. 2 beers.
Next we capture Pidgey. In Japanese, Pidgey's name is Poppo, which is the sound of a pigeon cooing in Japanese. Yes, it is onomatopoeia. This bird is literally named after the noise it makes. Then we capture Rattata, which in Japanese is Korata, which is likely ko meaning small and ratta meaning rat. So basically a small rat. Then we catch Spearow, which in Japanese is Oni Suzume. Oni meaning demon and Suzume is sparrow, so literally demon sparrow. We then capture Nidoran. In Japanese it's the same name, Nidoran. It doesn't really have any clear Japanese meaning, but it's shared by both male and female versions. Similarly to the male version, Nidoran is a made-up name. Red turns up to patronise me.
Oh, scary. Oh, shiver my timbers. Shut up, man.
This time, I proceed to absolutely destroy him in a Pokemon battle, making him quiver away. In Viridian Forest, I find Caterpie, which in Japanese is Kitapi, a katakana version of caterpillar. Then I catch a metapod, which in Japanese is Toranseru, which comes from transform and sell. So transformation cocoon. After running out of money and Pokeballs, I went to battle the gym leader's sidekick to get some money, just to go back to catch some more Pokemon. I catch Bidoru, which is from bee and needle, it's a stinger bug. And then I find the infamous Pikachu is the same in Japanese, and Pika is the sound of something sparkling, and Chu is a mouse squeak. So literally, sparkle squeak. Just after that, my Charmander evolves to a Charmeleon named Lizardo, which is literally the Japanese word for lizard, borrowed from English. Time for the first gym. Brock, or Takeshi in Japanese, is the rock gym leader.
Huh? What?
I smashed his Geodude and Onix with my overpowered Charmeleon. We did it! I uploaded my first Pokemon YouTube video.
Great success.
So far, we've got 11 Pokemon and filling up that Pokédex really quickly.
Wow, that was fast!
This is a series where I'll be taking you through our protagonist, Ski, who is on his way to become a Pokemon Master. However, there is a twist. I am playing Pokémon Green, which was never released in the West. I will be attempting to do translation for the first time, comparing Pokémon names, keywords, and cultural references that are a lot more subtle and maybe you're not aware of.
Wow.
Pokémon Green is set in the iconic Kanto region, but what you might not know is that this isn't just some made-up land full of tiny electric rats and flame lizards. Kanto is a real region in Japan, located in the eastern part of the country. It includes Tokyo, Yokohama, and several surrounding prefectures.
This is really cool.
So when you start your journey in Lavender Town, that's Pallet Town in English, you're actually beginning in a stylized version of Saitama, or Tokyo's rural outskirts. Game Freak's developers actually modelled the original Pokemon map after the real Kanto, flipping and simplifying parts of it. For example, Nibi City, or Pewter City, with its rocky terrain reflects real-world Gunma and its mountainous regions. Hanada City, or Cerulean, draws from coastal towns like Yokosuka. Even the name Kanto literally means east of the barrier, referring to its position east of the old capital of Kyoto.
Alright, enough chit-chat.
After battling a whole host of trainers, Ski arrives at Mount Moon, which is a cave separating us between Pewter City and Viridian City to fight the next gym leader. Jigglypuff in Japanese is pudding, pronounced pudding. Yep, it literally is pudding, as in a soft jiggly dessert. Before that, however, we buy a $500 Magikarp. Magikarp is known in Japanese as Koi Kingu, which literally means carp king. Koi is a carp, traditional fish in Japan, and Kingu is king, borrowed directly from English. Interesting fact, have you ever wondered why dollars are so expensive in Red and Blue? And even in the most recent games? Well, it's because in the original Pokémon Green, it uses the Japanese currency, yen. Of course a potion isn't $200, 200 yen, which is roughly $2. That is much cheaper.
You're cheap! You are so cheap! You never ever put money in any tip jar!
In Japanese, Mount Moon is called Otsukimiyama, which literally means moon viewing mountain. This isn't random, it's actually a link to a real Japanese festival called Tsukimi, where people gather in autumn to admire the full moon, decorate with pampas grass, and eat rice dumplings called dango. But here's the cool part. In Japanese folklore, people say there's a rabbit living on the moon, not a man. And in Pokémon Green, the Clefairy, who evolves using a moonstone, are kind of like that rabbit, rare, mysterious, and moon-loving. So Mount Moon isn't just a cave, it's a cultural nod.
Oh my god! Wow!
A few moments later.
Zubat is written in katakana as Zubato and sounds like Zuba, a sharp slicing or funny noise. It's an example of a Japanese onomatopoeia, the kind of word you use to mimic sound effects, something like cutting through air. We then find Geodude. Geodude's name in Japanese is Ishi-tsubute, which comes from Ishi meaning rock, and Tsubute, which is an old word meaning small stone thrown by hand. So that word literally means something like a throwing stone, a very Japanese style descriptive. We now run into Team Rocket for the first time, who call themselves the Rocket Mafia, which is interesting and different from the English translation.
Are you in the mafia?
I'm gonna thrash the first grunt. This will be the first of many, of course. We then run into Paris. Paris in Japanese is called Parasu, the name literally coming from parasite, since, yep, the mushroom on its back are actually parasitic. Then we find Clefairy, or in Japanese, Peep Peep. The Japanese name is super cute and sounds like a baby noise or a tiny chirp. Peep Peep is an onomatopoeic name, kind of like peep 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 peep.
What?
In English, Clefairy is a mashup of clef, which is the musical symbol, and fairy. We now arrive in Hanada City, or Cerulean City in English. The name Hanada is the shade of a bluish flower. Many city names are colours of flowers in Japanese. When we arrive in Cerulean City, we are immediately jumped by a rival, again. Once we smashed him again,
Get riggedy wrecked, son!
it's time to head north to one of the most famous challenges in early Pokémon, Nugget Bridge. The first guy that stops us explains a bit about what Nugget Bridge is. He says we need to beat 5 people in order to receive a present. I just wanted to point out the Japanese word nin, or in this case, gonin. Gonin meaning 5 people. Nin is the counter for people, and the verb morau, or moraimasu, which is to receive. So, receive a present. Once we've beaten all 5 people, we turn up to the last person who congratulates us. Turns out he's a rocket grunt. He asks us in Japanese, do we want to join? I definitely would want to join.
Yes, definitely! Just do it!
After the game won't let us, I proceeded to just thrash him like I have every other trainer up to this point.
God damn it! God damn it! God damn it!
On the way, I decide to catch some more Pokemon, because we've got to catch them all. First of all, I catch Bellsprout. Bellsprout in Japanese is Mada Tsubomi. The name comes from 2 words, Mada, which means not yet, and Tsubomi, meaning flower bud. Put together, it literally means something like still a bud, hinting that it's underdeveloped. It's a clever name to reflect Bellsprout's growth into more dangerous forms like Weepinbell and Victreebel. Then we find Abra, which is a pain to catch because it tries to teleport every 5 seconds. Abra's Japanese name is Keishi, a katakana rendition inspired by Edgar Cayce, a real-life American psychic from the early 1900s. This is part of the naming trio Abra, Edgar Cayce. Then my Pidgey evolves with Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto's Japanese name is Pidgeotto, based on the English word pigeon. North of the bridge, we arrive at a home of Pokemon's most cursed lore moment so far, Bill's house, aka the Pokémon Kurabu House in the Japanese version. When you enter, you don't see a person, you see a Pokemon. Bill accidentally merged with a Pokemon.
What the hell is even that?
As I go to fight Misty, who gives us a lecture on raising Pokemon, she then beats me. Man, I need to stop losing.
And you know what's gonna be on your tombstone? Loser.
I decide to go level up and explore other parts of the city. I find another rocket grunt, in which I use my loser bitterness to knock him out the way, and catch some more Pokemon, of course. The final Pokemon in this episode is Meowth. Meowth's Japanese name is Nyaosu, and it's a mix of Nya the Japanese onomatopoeic for a cat's meow, and su, a common katakana ending to round out names and make them sound more cute or catchy. So nyasu literally captures a meowing cat. Fun fact, Meow's obsession with money, especially in the anime, ties into its move payday, Neko ni koban, which comes from the Japanese proverb, gold coins to a cat.
I'm really rich.
Much later.
Now I'm ready. I'll go back to fight Misty again. Finally beaten her.
Finally!
We've now done Misty, and I'm at the end of the video here. Next time we'll go to get the Thunder Badge, and Ski's adventure is only getting started. Pokemon is such a happy game, right? The first part of Pokémon Green felt like a classic adventure, catching cute Pokémon, exploring Kanto and collecting those early badges. But in this video, things take a darker turn.
I'm so scared.
Before we begin this video, I just wanted to say a huge thank you so much for all the support on the series so far. And if you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Pokémon Green facts, localization changes, and even some key Japanese language tips along the way.
Get your fat ass back here.
Back in 1996, the game included all sorts of things that were toned down, rewritten, or removed entirely when it came to the West. With Pokémon being used in war, the strange and indulgent lives of sailors on the SS Anne, and of course, the most infamous part of the entire series, Lavender Town. In the next part of the Pokémon Green series, we'll be heading towards Viridian City, and I'll be going into more details about Pokémon used in war, the SS Anne, and Lavender Town. We'll start to see just how different things were in Japan. Ski continues his adventure towards Viridian City, or in Japanese is referred to as Kuchiba Shite. Kuchiba means autumn leaves or sunset in Japanese, which is associated with the colour vermilion. No Pokemon are caught on this route here, but there's an opportunity to level up a bit and battle some trainers. We first speak to the Pokemon Club member who, like in the red and blue version, speaks about his Pokemon, saying that they are cute. The word used here is kawaii, which is often used in Japanese, very common, and a word to remember.
Oh, look, cute!
We get the SS Anne ticket for an award. In both the Western and Japanese versions of Pokemon, the SS Anne is a luxury cruise liner. In the Japanese-only Pokémon Green, the sailors abroad openly talk about drinking or being hungover. One famous line in Red and Blue is the quote, "I like feisty kids like you." It was a very creepy thing to say to 10-year-olds. This was similarly said in Pokémon Green, which is very creepy.
What did you say?
These may be small, but they do add up, and make the Japanese SS Anne feel like a real ship of adults. After battling all the trainers, we go towards the ship's captain. First we have to beat Red again, who brags about the 40 types of Pokemon that he's captured.
I get bonus points if I act like I care.
The captain is suffering from seasickness, so we help him to get the HM cut, which is our first HM and will be needed to access the third gym.
Goodbye!
Our protagonist Ski reaches the third gym, where we start with this annoying trash puzzle. In Japanese, Lieutenant Surge's name is Mattis, from the clematis flower. You may notice that all gym leaders are named after plants. LT Surge is interesting, as he is not just a gym leader, but a foreign military veteran and fought in a war using electric Pokemon to win battles on the battlefield, where he earned the name Lieutenant. His Japanese dialogue suggests he used Pokemon as literal weapons for war, and survived battles where others didn't. This gives Surge a uniquely grim aura among gym leaders. He isn't training for sports, he's a soldier turned survivor, perhaps so haunted from what he's actually seen.
A few moments later.
We go to catch more Pokemon. The first Pokemon is the evolve of our Rattata, which is Raticate in English. Raticate's name in Japanese is Rattata, which is a shortened, cuter version derived from rat. Just like Rattata's name, Korata, Ko means small rat. So you have small rat and rat. The naming in Japanese tends to use onomatopoeic or simplified sounds rather than the more pun-heavy or descriptive English name. We next catch a Beedrill, which in Japanese is Spear. This comes from the English word spear, referencing its sharp stingers.
Oh, did you know I don't give a shit?
Unlike the English name Beedrill, which combines beat and drill, the Japanese name emphasises the Pokemon's piercing, aggressive nature rather than the insect itself. We then capture Duripu, which is the Japanese name for drowsy. As you may have noticed, this references the English word sleep, referencing drowsy's hypnosis abilities and dream-eating nature. The Japanese name is simple and ties closely on the basis of in the Baku, a dream-eating creature from Japanese folklore. Traditionally, the Baku is depicted with parts of various animals like an elephant's trunk, tiger paws, or an ox tail. In Japanese folklore, this is said to banish the nightmare as the Baku will consume it. Usually benevolent, but sometimes stories say if it's still hungry, it might also consume your hopes and desires, leaving you empty. In Diglett Tunnel, we capture Diglett, or Digda, which is a stylized version of the English word dig, with a cute rhythmic sound that fits Pokemon naming conventions in Japanese. Like many early Pokemon, its name is a direct and simple reflection of its core behaviour, digging, and its evolved version, Dodrio, which is Dagutorio, which is Dagu from dug, which is the past tense of dig, and Torio, the Japanese name for trio. So the Japanese name is the trio that digs. I then went back to Viridian City to get to the shortcut cave and get to the most interesting place in all of Pokemon, Lavender Town. This is where the Japanese localization really takes a turn. Lavender Town, the only place in Kanto where things stop feeling like a friendly adventure and start feeling disturbing. In Japanese, Pokémon Green, the game doesn't shy away from death, mourning and ghosts. But the Western red-blue version, much of that emotional weight is cut or softened. For example, Pokemon Tower isn't just a spooky tower in the middle of the town, it is a graveyard. NPCs in Japanese say things like, "I'll never forget my dead Clefairy. I can't stop crying." But in English, it's, "I came to pray for my Clefairy. I can't stop crying." The blunt language around death gets watered down in translation, losing some of its emotional impact. Inside Lavender Tower, there are trainers called channelers, mind-controlled by ghost types. In Japanese, lines are knitted with ominous intensity, but in English, the dialogue's still unnerves, but it's toned down. And then you have the tragedy of Marowak, Team Rocket's killing of Kiba's mother. It is more directly felt in the Japanese version, with plain words like murdered being used.
I'm gonna kill you.
Then we have the iconic Lavender Town theme, and some of the stories you may have heard of. The music here is iconic and harsher in Japan with high-pitched tones. That quality sparked the infamous Lavender Town Syndrome creepypasta, a fake urban legend claiming kids were harmed, or worse, just by hearing it. While this is totally false, it proves how compelling the original atmosphere of Lavender Town was. In Japanese, the Lavender Town Tower is a place for closure, for real tears, real loss. But in the West, emotional phrasing was made much vaguer. Pokemon were resting, not dead, and ghosts haunted less forcibly. But trust me, the impact is still felt today. Lavender Town's eerie theme struck a chord, and critics say it marks Pokemon's first direct take on grief and death. The creepypasta myth only amplified that legacy. Remakes like Gold and Silver removed most graveyard elements, replaced with radio station, but the original's raw honesty still resonate. I hope you enjoyed this video covering the dark sides of Pokémon Green. In the next video, we'll continue to get to the 4th badge and cover a bit more light-hearted elements of Pokémon Green, catching more Pokémon and explaining some Japanese differences. Thanks all, please like and subscribe to continue Ski's journey.